Hello everyone, welcome back to Lady Arcader's Super Showcase 2025. I come bearing announcements. One of them is that we have an anonymous $25 donation. Thank you so much for your generous donation towards care. But that's not all. We also have a brand new target incentive open to save the dog in Resident Evil 4. That's right. We have to make sure to meet that by the middle of Resident Evil 4 to be able to save the dog that's caught in a trap. So, don't be a heartless speedrunner. Save the dog. And you can save the dog by donating $150 towards that target. So make sure when you donate to select Save the Dog. Linkle it up in here with Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, Pcol Linkle's story slashes in.
Yippee, it's me. I hope we're alive. Tech is haunted, but I think we're good to go. We're doing some Linkle stuff, and I'm not alone in the hauntedness because I got someone here with me.
Hello, I am TwiliAutumn. I am befriending all the tech ghosts to make sure that they don't haunt this run.
So basically what this is, Hyrule Warriors is a non-canon Zelda game that is a crossover between Dynasty Warriors and Zelda. That was originally on the Wii U and then got brought to 3DS, and then those versions kind of both got combined into this version on Switch. Linkle was originally in the 3DS version, and then everything got combined into this version, so now she's in this version. We're doing her story stuff. This is not like an official category on the leaderboard, but there are like IL levels on the leaderboards, so this is kind of like an IL run with like all ILs combined into one run. But we also have a outfit choice, so what outfit we wear in.
Oh, so sorry, I was muted. Purple is our outfit choice. Thank you so much for your generous donations towards that, chat.
So I'm just going to choose my weapons here. Linkle has crossbows and boots. I considered also doing a bid war between crossbow and boots, but I just didn't because I already did the outfit choice, and I also just don't like the boots and I prefer the crossbows. So we can start here when I select my fairy. The fairy here doesn't really matter, but we just have to select one. So we can start in the 3, 2, 1, and then go. So we're in the Lost Woods, because the whole plot of this is that Linkle is like, she thinks she's destined to be the hero, and Hyrule Castle's in danger, but she's bad with directions, so she gets lost and ends up in the Lost Woods. That is the real lore, I promise you, that's real.
It's true. It's true.
You can watch the cutscene. You can look up the cutscenes, and that's what actually happens.
She looks at a map. There's a sign there, and she goes the opposite way each time.
Canonically bad with directions.
And she has a compass too.
Her compass is like special powers, but she doesn't use it for directions. So, who really can say how good it is? But I'm basically just fighting enemies here. The whole premise of Hyrule Warriors, aside from being like a Dynasty Warriors thing, is that there's a crossover like between Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword, and Twilight Princess. So like a lot of these enemies will, depending on what level you play, there's like different enemies from each of those games. So these are like all the Ocarina of Time design Stelphos, and some other levels you'll see like the Skyward Sword Bokoblins and all that stuff. The Skull Kid stole our compass, so we gotta go get it back. This is a weak point thing. Sometimes enemies do weak points, and you can destroy the weak points and do a special high powerful attack. I am basically just gathering, controlling these keeps. I basically want to turn all of these keeps from red to blue so I can control them so they spawn my allies, which are the chickens. And instead of having them spawn more enemies. basically, the way this works is you have like combos. I am playing on the default controls, but you can also play with like traditional Zelda controls. So my attack buttons are Y and X. If I do Y and then X, I can do like combos, and if I add more X's onto that combo, I can do more stuff. So I'm doing like this attack that I'm mainly doing is like a C4 or C5, I think is what it's called, like a combo 5. But I can also do like a C2 like that, or I can do like a C1, which like launches things into the air and do a little bit of like combo management and kind of things like that. A big thing with this game is also that a lot of the objectives are based around the dialogue, whatever happens in the dialogue text boxes, which you can't really speed up at all. So a lot of times I have to wait for the dialogue in the bottom left to kind of finish before things will actually like open up.
In the meantime, you can go around and just take keeps.
So Skull Kid is somewhere in one of these keeps. I think he's in the same keep every single time. I could be wrong on that. But I am just going around capturing all these keeps just to kind of change them to my side. And then find whichever one Skull Kid is in, which I think is usually this one. So I'm gonna capture this one. The way you capture a keep is just defeat enemies inside of the keep, and then eventually there's a meter. There's a meter on the side, on the right side, that will eventually spawn a keep boss once that meter goes down. And then once you defeat the keep boss, that will change the keep to your side. And then if enemies ever destroy or control your keep, that will change them back to their side. Skull Kid decided to play ball with the moon or whatever that was. And then he decided to leave. So we do have to go find him again.
And each keep has a different color, blue or red. Red is the enemy and blue is you.
We will be doing some missions where you do have allies. So the blue stuff will actually matter a bit more in those other missions. But for right now, we're just Linkle on our own.
And this game is packed with a lot of playable characters as well, so...
A lot of them were like added through like DLC and things on the Wii U version, but in this version, they're just all in the game for free automatically.
Mm-hmm.
There's also all these like missions and things that it wants me to do. Some missions are required to like finish the level, but other ones like escorting the Cuckoo Chick, like I don't need to do that. It would help me if I did it, but I am playing on easy mode. Just to make this run go by a little bit faster, so I don't really worry about that too much. So you can see that I just failed it and the Cuckoo Chick fled. I don't really care. I'm mostly just waiting for dialogue so that Skull Kid can spawn, so I guess it's donation time.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a super cool new announcement as well. There is a new poll open for the Leon costume selection for Resident Evil 4 coming up later today. I'm gonna read you all these options because they are all fantastic. We've got pinstripes, hero, villain, casual, and romantic. So if you'd like to donate towards any of those, you can do so by supporting Care right now with your donations. And I want to let chat in on a little secret. Again, whenever I'm on the mic, I just want to make sure chat knows. Between you and me, you can donate towards a costume, or a poll, in this case the costume selection, and a target at the same time with the same donation. It is a 2-for-1 deal. So if you love Resident Evil 4, if you would like to save the dog, that is now currently open. We need $150 to save that dog in Resident Evil 4. So let's get those donations in. We are $6 away from 1.2k already. So can we get that met? Can we get an option ahead in the costume selection? It is tied up between all 5 options right now. Let's do it. ! Donate in the chat.
So you might have saw me do something there where I activated magic. Because this is Zelda, you of course do have magic stuff, which is the green bar in the top left. not the one that's glowing now, the one that is empty. Because I used it. But there are two things you can do with magic. You can ideally use it, and then every 25 kills you have while magic is active, you get like bonuses like rupee and XP bonuses. Or you can press the A button, which will use all of it immediately, but will force a weak point spawn on the enemy that it hits, which is useful for like bigger bosses and things. We might be using magic a little bit more than that. Ideally, magic is useful for like XP grinding and stuff, but I am max level with my Linkle because this run took me like 3 years to set up. Because one day I was like, oh, I want to play Hyrule again, but I don't want to set up my Wii U, and then I remembered that this version existed, which has like all the good stuff anyway. So I was like, oh wait, I could probably do a speedrun of this, but I want to make my run like as optimized as it can be. I don't want to play like a level 1 Linkle. So it took me like 30 years to set up because this game is massive and has like 6 or 7, maybe 8 like maps you can do to like unlock things, and it took like 30 years to do. Which is also like how I got the outfits that I have and all that stuff. Yeah, this run has been like a long time in the making.
It's a unique run.
Then we get to the Water Temple, everyone's favorite Zelda dungeon, the Ocarina of Time Water Temple.
The Twisted Wizard.
Can we get some donations with feelings about the Water Temple? I would love to know how chat feels about the Ocarina of Time Water Temple. You can be honest with us, and any opinion is welcome, and any donation is welcome towards care. ! Donate.
There are a few levels in this game where you do actually have to like change the water level to like open up different paths, but that's mostly only for like the actual like main story missions outside of Linkle's stuff. But there is like a water level changing mechanic in this one, which is not as bad as it is in Ocarina of Time, but like it's still kind of annoying. Like these two rivers here would like typically be filled with water, but I can just run through them because there's not water there. You might also be able to like see how fast I'm running. This is typically your typical walk speed, but if I hold it, if I just keep running, that will force me into the run speed. But I can also hold my dodge button down and will force me into the run speed immediately. So I don't have to go through that slow walking and then transition into the run. I can just dodge into the run and then just keep running that way. I don't have to hold the button down once the run actually starts. I just have to hold it down to activate it, which is a little bit helpful. I mostly just use it to dodge to activate my run. I don't really dodge too much in this game, which I probably should more often, but I'm playing on easy, so I don't really care too much. You can also block, but I don't block in this game either. I'm someone who in a lot of games doesn't really block anyway. I prefer the dodge if I have a dodge, or I am bad at doing blocks and parries, so I am a dodge player. So the dodge is much better for me personally.
Same.
Also here we have to escort these engineers. This game does still have escort missions, which are still bad. The ally AI in this game is very annoying, and you can probably see here, they like to prioritize fighting every single little enemy. So I basically have to kill like every little guy around here to make him actually go forward. Because if they see a single enemy, their AI will be like, oh, I want to fight that guy. And I don't want that, because I want them to actually move to where I need them to go, so I just kill everyone around them. And if any escort people die, you will actually fail the mission. So I also don't want that either, so I kill everyone. Shoutouts to escort missions in Zelda games, because they couldn't stay out of this one.
Escort missions in any game. So I actually played this before your run, and I was streaming it to someone else, and they're like, the engineer thing apparently is a Dynasty Warrior thing too.
Yeah.
Like it's in that series too, so it's a staple they brought over.
I have not really played much Dynasty Warrior stuff. This is like my first experience with any Dynasty Warrior type
Same.
games. I know there's also like Fire Emblem Warrior stuff, which I should maybe try at some point because I do also like Fire Emblem, even though I haven't played as much Fire Emblem as I have played Zelda. But I probably should play some other Dynasty Warriors stuff at some point.
Same.
But we're just gotta wait for this guy to go. We can't go any faster than this. Because, of course, it's a video game where you run faster than your allies. And then this should open the
sick
door.
figure eights, though, I will say.
I don't know why I do this. I just always love running in figure eights whenever I'm waiting for something.
I like
You know,
this.
me
I think
too.
it's a lot of fun. We could get an $8 donation train going towards care, potentially.
Shoutouts for eights.
That was for eights. An $8 donation would bring us above that 1.2k mark, which I'm staring at that number. I'm not seeing it go up. I would love to see it go up. Care is absolutely fantastic, and y'all should donate towards their incredible work.
Also, this thing here, I have to save Darunia here, or he will die and it will fail the mission. If your allies die, you fail the mission, which is like really annoying, especially on a lot of harder missions in like the adventure maps. Especially when you're trying to go for S ranks and like actually unlock a lot of things. I had a lot of trouble getting those for some of them, especially on the later maps. But if someone is ever like, if it says, "Oh, in serious trouble, go help them now," you can just run to where they are and run next to them, interactive third green circle, and that will fully heal them. But sometimes, a lot of times, they will die before you get to them if you're playing on harder difficulties. Just because the ally AI is bad and doesn't like to attack enemies and just likes to take hits. And the enemy AI is a lot more aggressive. So a lot of times your allies will just die and you can't really do much about it. Technically they don't die, they just flee the fight, they just run away. I guess because they don't want to say a Zelda character died. But it's basically just the same thing. I need to go kill a Dynavolt somewhere. Also, there's a lot of heart drops that I don't need. I have the max hearts and all that stuff. You can do things where you can like make potions and things to like increase certain types of drops and increase your experience gain and stuff, which is really helpful when you're trying to get the grind experience. You can play as Young Link in this game from like Majora's Mask, and he's like super overpowered because he can use the magic thing like almost infinitely. So you can just like get an infinite experience bonus, and then you can pay rupees to use that experience on other characters, which is mostly how I leveled up Linkle. I would just grind with Young Link, and then pay rupees to level up Linkle.
This game does not skimp on content. It's got a lot.
This is why this run took me like 3 years to do. This is also another thing Linkle does. I have like a white meter that I can fill by doing attacks. And I can like shoot my arrows. But if that's empty, I can also do this. I can take off the hood. So hoodless Linkle, there we go. You can only do that when your meter is empty and when you're using crossbows, because if you're using the boots, you don't have the crossbow meter. So I can empty that, and then I can put the hood back on. I can also skip the animation if I wanted to, but I wanted to show off the animation because it's a good animation.
Something they did not have to add, and they did.
A lot of times if Linkle is an ally on your missions, like an AI ally, she will just stand there and like repeatedly take off the hood and put it back on. Because if there's no enemies around allies to fight, if they're just like in the middle of a keep somewhere, they just stand still and do idle animations. So I am just killing these guys to like let Darunia get by, because he needs to get to the door of the enemy keep so he can open it, and then I can go fight the boss in there, which is Volga, which is a unique character to Hyrule Warriors, because there's a few Hyrule Warriors only characters, which Linkle is one of those, but there has been, I think, like a dev or something said that they would like to bring Linkle back in the main series at some point, but so far that hasn't really been done outside of like mods.
Hashtag justice for Linkle.
I would love to play as Linkle in other games.
So now Darunia is at the door, so then we're just gonna wait for dialogue, and then the door will open, and then I can go fight the boss, which should be done in like a second, because easy mode. But figure eights, yippee!
Yippee! I really would love to see some of those $8 donations come in. Chat, exclamation mark donate in the chat, so that you can donate towards Kara. I know we've got Zelda fans in chat. I know we've got Hyrule Warriors fiends and Linkle fans in chat. Please voice your favorite Hyrule Warriors character, potentially. Who's your favorite to play as? What do you like in these games here?
I will main Marin and drop a whale on someone.
Marin is so fun to just drop with the whale on people. It's actually like awesome. One of her better attacks too. One of the annoying things though is that you kind of have to like memorize which button combinations do which combo. So like the main one that I'm doing with Linkle is like where she shoots like in 4 different directions, and I think that's like Y and then X 4 times. So like I'm just repeatedly pressing Y and then X 4 times. So like I've memorized that one, but then like other characters like I don't know as well. So I don't know their combos as well as I know like Linkle stuff.
So, by the way, while I'm watching you pilot this amazing hero on screen, we do have a donation towards that hero costume selection, Save the Dog, and it's a $10 donation from Anonymous, who says 1.2k for Linkle. Thank you so much, Linkle gang, coming through with the donations. That does mean that Hero is now in the lead for Leon costume selection for that Resident Evil 4 run later today, and we are $140 away from saving the dog in that same run. So remember, you can get a 2-for-1 deal when you donate right now. Save the Dog and Leon costume selection are both available to donate for, and your donation can go towards both at the same time. Thank you for getting us to 1.2k, chat! Absolutely incredible. We're on the road to 1.3 already.
Yippee!
Yippee!
This mission is a Skyward Sword map, so of course there's like imprisoned. But if you remember from Skyward Sword, if you ever played it, the imprisoned is typically like really big, but this game has baby imprisons.
Baby. They're so tiny.
They're so tiny. They're so baby. The imprisoned is like actually like a pretty annoying boss to fight in this game when they're big. But if they're baby and tiny like this, they're actually pretty easy to take out. Because there are a lot of like big Zelda bosses that got like reimagined in this game, and they try to replicate how their boss fight in their main game actually like worked. Like we're gonna fight a King Dodongo later, and we actually have to like throw bombs into its mouth, and imprisoned you have to like defeat its toes, and Argarok you have to like hookshot the tail, and they try their best to be like as accurate as possible to the source material.
Yeah, because like a lot of like Pcol has bombs on ZR right now, but you can change to many different Zelda items that have been throughout the series.
I don't really use the items a whole lot, but I also have like a bow and a boomerang and a hookshot. The hammer is a new thing because it came from like the Wind Waker levels, which were added in this version.
They're very situational, like you were saying, but with the bosses. So, some enemies will actually throw a symbol above their head when they're about to hit a special attack, and you can interrupt it with that item.
This version also has the Ocarina, which you might have been seeing me activate like Majora's Mask Owl statues. Once you activate those, you can use the Ocarina to like warp around the map a little bit easier, which was not in the Wii U version. So the maps are a little bit harder to get around than the Wii U version, just because there's no warping mechanic. And I think I probably will actually be using the warping mechanic in the next level. I don't think I'll use it in this one. Just because the next map is pretty big. Door, please. So you can see right there that he has like a bomb thing. If I threw bombs at him while he was doing that attack, it would have spawned a weak point. If you let those attacks play out, they still do the weak point, but it just lets you do a little bit of extra damage and then spawn the weak point a little bit faster if you take advantage of those item things. I'm also going to do this here. I used this in the Volga fight in the last mission, but there's this yellow like focus bar thing. I don't really use these as much as I should, but they're just like big area of effect things. When you start into fire, you only have 1 yellow meter per character, but once you upgrade characters, you can get 3 yellow meters. And like I was talking about before, the reason why Young Link is so overpowered is because he can transfer his yellow meter into his magic meter, and as long as he has yellow meter, he could just keep his magic going infinitely. And there's a really easy way to get yellow meter with Young Link, as long as you keep defeating enemies. Also, treasure chest, yippee! I can skip this, but we want to see Linkle, so here's extra Linkle. For a weapon that I probably don't need, but there's an animation for Linkle opening a chest.
Dun, 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 dun.
So a lot of these troops that I'm defeating are like ceremonial troops, and like commander troops. I think one of them spawns more baby imprisoned, and then the other one improves their power. There's a whole thing in this game called morale where like enemies glow different colors and like differentiates like how powerful they are. Ideally, you want the enemies to glow like a dark blue instead of like a bright red. Because if they're bright red, they have more morale, and if they're dark blue, they have less morale. And if they are, depending on how much morale they have, it kind of dictates how powerful they are. So ideally, you want enemies to have less morale, so they're a little bit weaker. There's also elements in this game. There's like 8 different elements. The elements don't really matter too much, even on like harder difficulties or like different maps. But there are like every level has like a special weakness element, and if you use that element on the level, you will do a little bit more extra damage. And there's like other things you can do with some of the elements. Like Linkle's crossbows are like a fire element, and I think what that does is like makes it so that when enemies land on the ground after being launched in the air, they like explode on the ground and do like extra AoE damage to other enemies. And there's also like water, which like makes water like a water bubble spawn on the enemy's head, which does like damage over time. There's like electricity, which like does extra damage to enemies in the air. There's like a whole lot of like element stuff. It's not really too needed, too much, but it does exist if you want to play around with it.
I did not know that.
Which also makes Sheik a more unique character, because just like Smash, Zelda and Sheik are separate characters in this. But Sheik has the ability with her harp to use whatever element she wants. So she can, depending on which like combo attack, like what I'm doing here, she can like use whichever element she uses. Like if she does like light element, she could spawn a Triforce on the ground that recharges her yellow meter when she's staying inside of it. She could spawn like a fire tornado or something that like traps enemies inside of it. It's like Sheik is like really fun to play around with, just because of the element stuff. But elements are also not really too needed too much. But that's also the next mission. Yippee! I can't do the special run. I can't do the dodge dash when it's doing mission like this, but I can run in figure 8. CP.
Yippee! Those $8 or maybe multiple of $8 donations, I would love to see those come in, especially because while Hero is a fantastic option to be winning that Leon costume selection, I mean, we are playing a game with heroes after all, I think we're also playing a game with some excellent villains. That is an option on that Leon costume selection poll as well as the romantic option. I can't believe the romantic option doesn't have any donations in it. Chat, I want to see Leon the romantic. Go ahead and put your donations in towards care, !donate in chat. Remember, you can click both a costume selection option and the Save the Dog incentive, both for Resident Evil 4 later today.
And we're going into the next mission. Those last two missions I did actually have other characters I can play as. The Water Temple had one, had Ruto in it, and that one had Fi. I don't really switch characters too much, mostly because I just like playing as the single character, but also to, like, this is Linkle's mission, so we're not playing as the other characters. I could show them if I wanted to, and I might do that with this one with Twilight Mina. Because Twilight Mina is actually also fun to use. But for the most part, I just tend to stay on, like, one character. And we're in the Palace of Twilight. Shall it's to Twilight Princess? The Twilight Princess one we're having, like, the final day? I bet you, when you saw this run, you never guessed that you would get to see Twilight Princess twice in the same marathon.
So true. That is
I'm
going to
this.
be on our final day, yes. 2:33 p.m. Eastern Time, so tune in for that as well.
As a Twilight myself, I am a fan.
The music in these levels are like also like a lot of like remixed tracks from like the games they come from. So like the Palace of Twilight music here is like kind of like a more energetic, upbeat remix version of like the Palace of Twilight dungeon music from Twilight Princess. You should really look up the soundtrack to this game because it slaps. I am going to go up here and then get this owl statue, just so I have something to teleport to later. And I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to change to Twilight Mina. And then giant cannon, giant chicken cannon, because Twilight Princess is a game of all time. There's a better way of seeing it. Giant chicken cannon.
Giant chicken cannon.
Sometimes when you do attacks, the camera doesn't zoom out, and I don't know why it does that, but most of the time it's supposed to zoom out like that and show the full giant chicken cannon. But I mostly use Twilight Mina. I put Link on one side of the Palace of Twilight and then use Twilight Mina on the other side, just because this map is so big and there's a big separation between them. And then kind of take this keep with Twilight Mina. My Twilight Mina is only 86, but we're playing on easy, so level doesn't matter too much. I mostly just wanted my Linkle leveled up. And then just adjusting it back to Linkle, wherever she is. There's an enemy up here I have to kill. Kill this Fortifier Captain. I don't really know what Fortifier Captains do. I think they just make keeps more stronger, but I never really noticed too much of a difference. Like, even on the harder difficulties, I don't think it makes much of a difference if Fortifier Captains exist.
If you're going to be beating up keeps and taking them, yeah. Usually they don't matter.
You also don't need to take like every single keep or anything on the map. When I played this game on Wii U, I tried to do that because I wanted to make everything blue, but you don't need to do that, and it kind of just wastes time if you try to make everything blue. A lot of keeps either just don't give you anything for it, or if it's like one of the missions on the adventure map, you might get like a chest out of it, which usually gives like a weapon or like a new unlock or whatever if you're unlocking stuff. But if you've already unlocked everything, it doesn't really matter too much. But you don't need to capture every single keep, so I just don't. Also, Dark Xantier is a bit annoying sometimes.
The only upside to taking all the keeps is if one of the mission is to take keeps and you've already done it, and it's like, oh, mission's done, I can move on now.
It's kind of why you want to try to prioritize keeps, because a lot of missions are just like, go here, take this keep, and then like you've already done it by that point.
And sometimes a boss is hiding in a keep, and you have to open up other keeps.
Like right here, it's saying capture the keeps, and I've already done it.
Yep. The other thing you need to worry about is making sure your allied base does not fall as well.
Yeah, which is,
I say that because my allied.
That's more of an issue on higher difficulties.
I mean, I was playing normal on this map to get ready for this run, and I let my allied base fall, and then I got stuck in a Groundhog Day loop trying to save it.
And there's a little bit of like ocarina warping just to get down here, because there's a lot of enemies down here that are fighting my messengers, which are I don't think I have to actually do this objective for the mission, but I'm doing it just to be safe. But basically, messengers, you escort them to like a certain keep or location or whatever, and then it spawns more allies for you. But because it is an escort mission, they still have the AI where they'd want to fight literally every single enemy. Or just stand there and swing their sword for some reason. So I'm just like killing like every little man around here. That guy's gonna fall into weak point. A lot of enemies in this game, you kind of have to like memorize which attacks will give weak points and which won't. Because sometimes it's not extremely obvious. But you can also like use the traditional items to like force it if they do the special item attacks. Which I think is also a new thing in the Switch version. I don't think they ever did item attacks in the original Wii U version.
I never played the original Wii U, can't tell you. I can tell you that switching between items is a pain, and you won't do it fast enough to get that weak point.
Yeah, because on this version, you have to do it with the D-pad. On the Wii U version, you could use the gamepad to swap items a little bit faster. But that also required looking away from the screen to actually see what you're trying to select. So it's faster in principle, but not really faster in practice.
Because you'll scroll through the wheel, find the one, go past it, get the next one, and then you have to open the menu again, and it's a pain.
Or like the weak point is gone by the time you select the item. This is why I don't really use items a whole lot in this game, because they're just... The uses they do have are like extremely niche and will require like specific things you need to do with them. But for the most part, you don't really need to use items.
I think some, like we were saying earlier, some bosses like the Manhandla requires, I think, the boomerang, and
yeah,
the Dongo requires the bomb, and there are very situational ways that you need to use them for boss fights, but for minor enemies, you don't need to.
This is also a delay thing. I typically don't like ending missions in Magic. Like, I like using them for like end fights because I get a lot of stuff from it, but like if you're still in the Magic mode when the boss dies, you have to wait for that animation to finish, and it kind of extends the end of the mission. Because once you're in like this type of state where you're waiting for the mission to end, you can't really do much but run around. Just because there's no way to speed up the dialogue, and because it's Zelda, of course, the dialogue is not voiced. So you do also have to like just wait for text boxes to go.
Just a lot of grunts and huns.
But this should be the final mission now. This one is also a little bit long, but this will end with like an actual like King Dodongo boss fight. So we'll actually get to see a big boss for once.
Can we maybe get some donations towards that villain option on the Leon costume selection in honor of King Dodongo? Or any option that you'd like? This run is ending real soon, so if you are a Zelda gang, you gotta get those in now.
But we've also finally made it all the way to Hyrule Castle, but it's already been destroyed because this takes place like after the actual main story mission where like Ganondorf turned into Ganon and everyone fought him. So it's like there's like multiple Hyrule Castle maps in this game because there's the destroyed version like this and then the not destroyed version. But we are in the destroyed version, which is slightly different because there's like a few other things open because of like walls being destroyed. Also, classic Zelda cutting grass because of course you can do that.
Of course.
Is this? Oh, that opens later. I think I need to run all the way around and get these guys because that keep is not open. I can tell when the keeps are open because the boxes, which are the keeps on the map, have the orange doors or the orange bars on them, and that's how I can tell that they're closed. Because this keep here is closed, I can't just run through it. I have to run all the way around. And then get this L statue here. Yeah, there's no way to open a keep other than like if there's only one way to enter it, you enter it from that side and then you capture the keep and that opens the rest of it, or like it just opens based on like story progress or like mission progress.
And no matter how many times you play this, you're gonna look at the map and you're gonna have to like glance over and say, okay, which door do I go through to get to where I need to go, and while you're defeating enemies. And
because of this being like a Dynasty Warriors type game, there's a lot that goes on all at once. But I think that should maybe finally open these keeps now that I did that mission.
Pcol is crushing it, for sure.
So these keeps just turned evil, because sometimes that happens where, based on a mission progress, your keeps turn to the other enemy automatically. So then that opens one. That opens this one. And then more enemies are coming out of this one over here. And I can now play as Impa, which I might switch to at some point. Impa's not really the greatest. I think there's like a tier list somewhere of characters you can find, and Impa's kind of down low on it, because a lot of her animations are pretty slow. Because of her, like, characterization in this game being, like, all ninja-based, she has to do, like, all the special, like, classic ninja poses and things like that. So I can maybe kind of show that here. She's using her big sword. Which I think is like the Bigoron sword from Ocarina of Time, just because a lot of weapons in this game are based on like classic Zelda weapons. But there are also some unique weapons in this game, like she has like a Naginata weapon, which is like not a Zelda thing at all.
And yes, Link has the Master Sword. Wouldn't be the same.
There's also like a few joke characters in this game. You can play as Tingle in this game for some reason if you really wanted to. And he uses a balloon. Tingle is like, I actually watched like a few ILs of like some other missions in this game on like the SOC boards, and like Tingle is actually used like in some IL missions because he has an attack, a combo attack where he launches himself in the air with his balloon and like flies around, and it can be used to like move yourself up to higher ledges that you can't reach before the things open. Like you can get the areas early with that attack. So like Tingle is actually used in some IO missions, and it's pretty funny. I'll switch back to Linkle, just so I can get this keep over here. Well, there's actually enemies in my ally base. So while I'm doing this, I'm actually going to take advantage of this. This is another thing you can do. You can like tell your allies to go specific places, which once they have a pin on the map, they will just beeline straight through there. I actually forgot that those enemies go into your allied base, so I am hoping that I can reach there in time. So you can see Impa here just running to the ally base and not ignoring everyone else, because that's where I told her to go. But I'm also running there myself. See if I can beat her there, which I probably will. so Gibdos are an annoying enemy because you can see they have like a big poison cloud they can do. But because they are based on like redeads, they do have. If I was caught in that wind thing they did, that would actually like freeze me in place for a few seconds.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how they emulate the classic redead scream thing.
I mean, Gibdos will also do that in games too. They'll stop you in your tracks.
I think these Gibdos are technically wrong because I think they're based on the Twilight Princess Gibdos. But there's like a translation error with Twilight Princess where they called Redead Gibdos instead, so I think that got carried over to this. So I think they're actually supposed to be Redeads, but because of them being the Twilight Princess design, they have a translation error in their name.
I think you might be right.
Which, like, Zelda lore enthusiasts can, like, correct me on that, but I think that's actually what it is. The King Dodongo's here now. We actually can't fight him yet, because he's Dark King Dodongo, and he's actually invincible right now. So we have to kind of just provoke him a little bit, and then it's going to spawn some other enemies, which I think is over here, actually. Because we have to defeat the powerful monsters to make King Dodongo available to be hit. And there's me being frozen for 6 seconds. And that's what I mean, I was too late on the arrows there. There's another one. Impa is still in the base. So I'm gonna have Linkle stand by here, fight a King Dodongo, and then I'm gonna have Impa go this way. This is where it becomes like a lot of like a management stuff. There's some levels where you have like up to 4 characters you have to kind of manage at the same time. But you can only play as one. So you have to kind of like manage who is doing what and where they are and which enemies they're fighting and like how much health they have, and there's a lot of stuff to kind of keep track of in this game. More enemies somewhere. They're down here. And even though this run speed is pretty fast, there is also no way to speed it up. But it is already fast enough, so I guess I don't really need it sped up all that much, but it sometimes, like with big maps like this, I wish the run speed was a little bit faster. And you also can like lock on the enemies too if you need to because of Zelda.
Only the enemies that have names above them. The little peon enemies don't.
So now he is not Dark King Dodongo. I don't know where this guy went. He's down here. I don't know why King Dodongo becomes available to be attacked before I kill all the enemies, but that's just how the mission is for some reason. But you can also see all of them like glowing dark red, and that's the high morale stuff. I'm gonna go back to my bombs so I can fight King Dodongo. Because I don't have enough magic, actually, unless I can get magic from the grass over here. Which I actually did, so let's go. But I can actually use magic here, and then use up the entire meter immediately, and this will force a weak point on King Dodongo. And then once I defeat it, this will actually be time. So there's a weak point above him now. I'm going to do 2 yellow bars here, because I don't need to do a third one. I'm going to do 2 yellow to like kind of decrease his bar a lot, and then I'm going to just do that, and that's time.
GG.
GG.
And then just go through this menu here. Yeah, that's Linkle stuff. This run has been in the making for like 3 years, and it's finally done now and stuff, and that's it. Maybe if I get this into some other events, you might see it, some of the other outfits. I typically use the blue one, because blue is my favorite color, and is also based on Arrow, which is Link's sister in Wind Waker, and Wind Waker is my favorite Zelda game, so I typically use the blue one. But we got to see purple today, yippee! But yeah, I don't really stream too much. I mostly just post things on like Blue Sky and things, and yap about Assassin's Creed and Xenoblade. I've been doing like a lot of Assassin's Creed videos on YouTube recently. Other stuff has kind of gotten in the way of that, so I haven't uploaded in a bit, but like that's mostly what I've been doing recently. Might maybe see if I can get this into some other events now that I've done it at an event once, but yippee, that's basically it from me.
That'd be fun to see.
Well, y'all were absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for being here and showing us Hyrule Warriors. It's incredible to see a run literally years in the making. That was so much fun. We are going to take a quick break here while we get set up for our next game. And also, just real quick, that was my last host shift of Lady Arcader's Super Showcase 2025. So thank you so much for having me here. And your next host will be Princess Shortcake, who's absolutely incredible. If you'd like to see and hear more of me, I will be back later tonight with Jazz Punk. That's the game I'm running. And also, I'm doing some charity streams on my own Twitch at SatanHerself on Twitch. So yeah, listen in for Grace's beautiful voice and for more incredible runs here at Lady Arcader's Super Showcase 2025. Thank you!